Alrighty, hello everyone. Welcome back to another video. So a little bit has happened in the Finalmouse scene. With them releasing the Centerpiece, its pre-order being dropped. But that's not really what the main focus of today's video is. It's more so a look back on Finalmouse over the last couple years and just what has changed, what I liked about it, what I haven't liked about it. But the main focus is Finalmouse washed? Is it over for them? Are they just going to be this company that just falls into obscurity, or are they just going to go down as the whack brand that only tweeted about freethinker stuff and a bunch of nonsense? Well, it's whichever way they decide to take the company in this next few months, I guess, with the whatever drops next. But first thing I want to talk on is, I guess, the main reason why Finalmouse is so popular is get this, the gaming mice. Wow. The UX Prophecy took longer to sell out. A lot of the other mice previously, like, I could be wrong, but I think there was only 10,000 units made through all four of these. And I think it took over, like, an hour and a half to sell out. Maybe more. I know that was when, by then, most of them had sold out, except for maybe, like, the small of one of these. I don't remember which one. I think there's some logic behind this, they've been adding, there's overall more supply in the market for Finalmouse. The UX Comp, I think, had like 25k units. So I think most people were satisfied with the mouse that they had, so they didn't want to upgrade. Well, I think if you bought like any of the UX Pro Series, you don't need any of these. There just isn't much of a change. It's more of a stylistic choice. Like if you liked, the raw carbon over the regular one, or you liked the red and gold because it would go better with your setup than the white and red or something like that. That's the main reason why people are buying them. Or it's because you just heard about Finalmouse and you're like, yeah, I want one. Oh, there's a drop coming up next week. Let's go. The more supply, clearing out of bots, you cannot, and also you cannot buy more than, I think it's 2 or 4 Finalmouse per address. So that's also stopped, resellers, botting. So I don't think it taking that long to sell out is a bad sign per se. But obviously they have lost hype over the years, which not a big surprise. The next thing I would like to talk about is their communication. It's a little weird. This is a little bit of a gripe I have with how they dealt with the Centerpiece. They say they've been developing it for like 60 years. I believe that. I think they've probably been working on a keyboard for a long time. There were delays, etc., etc. But I wish they were more communicative with the Centerpiece and it being scrapped. True was a Discord notification like 2 years ago after I think a year of waiting and them just delaying it. But they never said it was scrapped, they just said it was delayed. Well, it was delayed indefinitely for a little bit. And then say, we are scrapping this and we're changing it completely. It's kind of more so. It came off as, oh, we're just changing the name and we're changing a couple things. We still have we have the main keyboard still. I just wish they were a bit more communicative, like, yes, we have scrapped what we had. We're pretty much starting over again. We're redoing it. And this is going to take like 2 years. They didn't say that. So it kept going and they kept delaying it and delaying it. I think if you count up all their delays, it's probably like 6 times at least. And for someone who was actually going to buy a Centerpiece when I found out that the Founders Edition card came with the Starlight Last Legend, I was really intrigued in buying a Centerpiece. But then I just gave up on waiting and just bought a Wooting earlier this year. I was like, I'm not waiting. Do I regret it? No. I think the Wooting's 90 to 95% of everything the Finalmouse keyboard will be. And you don't have a dedicated GPU and CPU sitting in your keyboard that could break at any moment, rendering your keyboard useless. Their QC issues will be worse on this keyboard. And I think that's just a fact. It's just how well they do it. But another thing I would like to talk about with the Centerpiece was kind of how they handled the Founders Edition code as well. So the keyboard here itself. It's a very clean, sleek design. I think it's pretty damn nice. I really like the keycaps. I like how they're transparent, but you can still see like the spring and everything, so you can still take the cap off. It's still adjustable. You can still do what you want to this keyboard. But one difference: there's no engravings. With the reintroduction of the Centerpiece, calling it the Centerpiece Pro, because yes, why not? The Founders Edition was going to, at the time, it was going to be gray, and the regular one was going to be black. The gray one was going to have mechanical switches. The regular one was going to have Hall effect. Obviously, at the time, I think it made sense when they were developing, but then when they realized that they had to compete with Wooting, Razer, all those companies that were coming out with Hall effect keyboards, they had to switch it up. So that was part of their rebrand of the Centerpiece. They got rid of the engravings. I think removing the engravings is a fair decision for the mass production variant. Not the Founders Edition variant that only has like 5,000 or 2,000, whatever they made. I would be willing to wait another, month for the Centerpiece Pro if it had the engravings with the Founders Edition, if it meant that it had to take longer for the quality control to be up to standard. It just doesn't really make sense. There's not much difference between the Founders Edition and the regular edition. The only difference is a little engraving somewhere on the keyboard where I have zero. When I read in the Q&A that Final Boy did, they just said it would have an engraving. We will find out. That's another thing actually I want to quickly talk about. They say mass production. Does that mean they're going to release 6 different variants with 10,000 unit drops? Or are they going to actually do a mass production unit where it's just, you can just buy it whenever and then they'll just send it out when it's ready? One other thing I want to talk about was how Finalmouse themselves have always been very unprofessional up until about 2022. Every single time they released a mice, they were very, very unprofessional, very weird. They were trying to stand out, which I guess at the time, here they had to stand out. I mean, it shows. But eventually, with the bad QC issues, they got a rep for being the wacko company, is what I'm going to call it. They still made really good mice. I own 3 of them. I'm not going to say that they're bad mice. I love all of them. I think they're great. But one change they made was with the ULX. Completely, it seems like they did a complete rebrand with how they structured everything. With their Twitter, they stopped tweeting about nonsense. They started tweeting like a normal gaming peripheral company. They redid their website to a professional-looking, well-made website that was pleasing to the eyes and didn't look like some 10-year-old went into a website or made a website within 20 minutes. It showed info for all the mice. It showed their innovations and what they wanted to do. All of that's gone. And going back to my main point, Finalmouse were making improvements to be professional, to be with the times. They would rather have their innovation just be in their mice and what they make rather than in their Twitter page. They had those informational videos that showed what their product was, what the difference was between their past products, or that's what they did with their gaming mice, with the ULX competition. I know I really hated on the video, but I was fine with the video itself. I thought it was really informative, and there were some good bits in there. The ULX info videos that they had 8 of them or 6 of them that were 2 to 3 minutes that just talked about a different part of the mouse, which I was a huge fan of. That gave sneak peeks of the mouse. It introduced good hype instead of fictional hype over tweeting burger, which leads to you actually building a general community rather than some fake culty thing. It's a bit over-exaggerative, but you know what I mean. But now with the Centerpiece, they're going back to that 2021 era of Finalmouse. Not fully, I think they're still keeping some of that, but the website being changed back to this style. They were tweeting right before stuff like this. Not gonna read it, but you can see it's just what is this? You get banned from Twitch instead of just saying we have been banned for please fix. Okay, yeah, fair enough. But instead of just saying something normal, you decide to make it about your keyboard. I don't think it was because of your keyboard. It was probably because you guys don't stream very often and you randomly had 5K views. Twitch thought you were a botted account or something. Overall, I hope they take Finalmouse, the higher-ups take it back in the way they had it back in 2023. With their informational videos, I liked that style that they had with releasing these mice with a bunch of different drops and not making it so, I guess, elite to have it, because let's be honest, it's a gaming mice. How elite can you make a gaming mice owning one? People want just a good mouse, and, they want the most advantage possible, which Finalmouse offers. That's all you really need to go for. You have your niche. You don't have to isolate them with releasing these tweets and it's just not worth it. Act like a normal gaming peripheral company. That's kind of the end of the day what I want Finalmouse to be if I was in control for a day. I would have them making those videos. I'd have them make that video for the Centerpiece, an 8-minute video just talking about it. Basically taking what this said and putting it into a 5 to 6 minute video just talking about their innovations. Again, none of this is going to kill their company, but they could grow it to a much bigger thing if they went back to what they were doing with the ULX. Because there was general hype with the ULX because of what they did with the mouse, and everyone was really excited for it. And with good innovation in the mouse space, that's what they did with the original ULX, and then they continued to make small improvements with the next iterations, which I'm a fan of. And I understand you can't really release informational videos with these mice here, but you can definitely do it with the Centerpiece. But yeah, overall, Finalmouse have your products do the talking on innovation. Showcase them. And don't tweet absolute nonsense that does not matter and just makes you look weird. You can do it a little bit to have some personality, but yeah, just doing it the way you guys did it back in the day, that's definitely not it. But and I don't want you guys to fall back down that rabbit hole again. Come on, guys. Please don't do it for me. I'm rooting for you. But yeah, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all later. Peace.